What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Hey Ballbusters, welcome to episode 6 of Metal Beer Horror, the podcast that's exactly what you think it is. I'm Bates. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts.
Ray Mungus.
Tom.
And the Leather Rebel.
We're recording this episode Sunday, December 23rd, 2018, and you should be listening to this before the new year, but we promise nothing here at MBH, because that is how we roll. So, yeah. As always, our theme is Death Before Dishonor by M.R.E.s. Be sure to check them out at facebook.com/MagusBeast. And if you were listening to episode 6, hopefully you've listened to episodes 1 through 5, which are finally out on Dead Entertainment YouTube channel. And we'd like to thank you for, supporting this podcast that we wanted to do, twice a month. And a year later, we're only on episode 6. So that's how this shit works. But we're still kicking. We're still alive. Things have happened.
Yeah, this has been a weird transitional year. Just a lot of things, a lot of events happening, one thing after another, some good, some bad, some lazy. Many lazy, actually, especially on my end. Mm-hmm. But times they be a-changing, so, enjoy your 5 or 6 episodes and fucking deal with it. Maybe we'll get 10 next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe.
I think so.
Well, that's the hope. You hope to do... Well, you got to remember something, though. Everybody's got different schedules. Everybody's got different things to do. We record these things mostly on, every one of them's been recorded on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So, that's basically like the one day that we all have to kind of like get together and act like imbeciles for your entertainment as well as our own.
Definitely our own.
But, like Ray said, it's been a while and there have been a lot of transition. There's been, life is a transitional kind of thing. If you don't change with it, you get rolled over by it, and that's pretty much all I have to say about, what's been going on this year so far. But, if you enjoyed the last 5 episodes, you either have some type of some type of crippling mental deficiency, or you actually like us, which is kind of like one of my greatest fears.
Or a crippling mental deficiency.
Yeah, definitely the crippling
mental
deficiency.
No, I don't mind the crippling mental deficiency. In fact, I'm kind of looking forward to senility when I get to 45.
Well, so that's what's been going on in Tom's life.
Yeah.
And by the way, happy belated birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday.
And happy belated birthday, Ray.
Oh,
happy birthday, Mungus.
Back in October. And as always, per Dead Entertainment tradition, Bates, have a happy birthday today, tomorrow, and yesterday.
Well, it's almost here, officially. So.
We're going to get it right one day. We wish him a happy birthday just about every day. Because he refuses to tell us because we wanted to get him a nice care package.
And an ice cream
Pops cake. And tiki mugs. And all those other things that you really love. I know you were a big fan of the that Helloween ketchup, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're a huge fan of that. And, of course, he loves Blueberry and all the other scary cereals. You're a huge fan of those, too. Mm-hmm.
Well,
your birthday is going to be lit.
Fuck that. I'm getting you a hugogram. Deal with it.
Well, what kind of savage monster hates Blueberry? Seriously, it only comes out for like 1 month a year.
You're sitting right across from him.
1 month too much.
And, man, fuck you. Blueberry's awesome. Yeah. I load up on that shit, man.
So we're going to get a pallet of Blueberry delivered.
Well, hopefully. Hopefully Post Cereal or whoever the fuck makes Blueberry now. It's just, hopefully we'll get, Frankenberry too. I don't see that rolling around too often.
Don't forget the chocolate vampire or whatever they call him.
Oh, yeah, Count
Chocula. General Mills.
And Fruit.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, those were gone even before my fucking time.
Yeah, but they still come out, and we know some personal fans of these cereals, and
when I say fans, I mean
I'm talking fans.
Like fucking diehards.
Diehards.
That buy cases of it. Sad.
I buy my box. I enjoy my box of Boo Berry once every year, my Frankenberry once every year, and then I just wait for October to come around again.
I'm ashamed to admit I've never had any of those cereals.
You're not missing anything.
I'm really curious.
I'm right there with you, man.
Never.
It depends on how you feel about sugary cereal from when you were a kid. Me, I liked it when I was a kid. I never really had it all that much.
With stale, rock-hard marshmallows. Oh, yeah.
Stale marshmallows.
That sounds so appetizing.
Well, I put them aside.
He eats them all at once with a handful.
No, you put them all. No, you make a separate bowl out of them. You put the milk on them. You let them get soggy for a little bit, and you eat the slime.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the leprechaun eats his Lucky Charm.
That's cooking with Tom. Okay.
It's also how you get diabetes very, very fast.
So we are hoping to record, a lot more episodes next year, but there are some things coming up for us personally. That might get in the way. For one thing, if anyone listening to this hasn't been following me on Twitter or listening to our weekly podcast, you may not know, but I am expecting my first child in June, so that's going to put a bit of a damper on things.
I love how you introduce this thing as like it's going to be a damper on the show. It's going to be a damper. Congratulations, man. Forget the damper. Forget the shows. You're going to become a dad, and it's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. Congratulations.
Well done, man. Now you can talk about all the disappointing stuff you're gonna be doing or not doing.
Hey, she's the one doing most of the work.
Exactly.
Well, right now, yeah. But I mean, once that kid comes out, man, she's going to want you to split everything 50-50.
Exactly.
You're going to have a really fun time baby-proofing things in this room here.
Baby won't be down here. If the baby's down here, it'll be in a pack and play. So
that baby is going to be down here for our next recording when we do it after June.
Or for our satanic sacrifice next Halloween.
I was gonna make him a fifth member of the Beatles over here, but
All right. Hey, Baby Beats, what do you think of the new Ghost album?
That's what I think of it.
Gagagoo.
Wow. We're gonna be talking about that a little bit later.
Kind of jumped ahead there, but yeah.
Yeah. Him and his transitions, they're always off.
But I am not the only one with some life-altering news.
Yeah. So Leather Rebel has gotten engaged, and that's it. I've signed my life away.
Sorry,
again.
Again, congratulations are in order for this.
Thank you.
We all know Mrs. Leather Rebel. I call it Leather Rifle.
The last time I seen her, she was wearing a leather jacket, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been a while. Him and our good buddy, the Leather Rebel, and his his fiance.
The Leather Rebellette or something.
I'm calling her the Leather Rifle. Lady because Rebel. She's at some point she's just gonna go through him like a fat girl at a water slide. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, we're in a good place right now,
That's awesome.
And we're looking forward to having kids, just like you, Bates. So,
wow, look at that.
And that's it. There's some exciting shit coming up, and change like Tom was talking about. Roll with it.
I decided a couple months ago that and I don't know why I didn't have everything slide into place already, but I decided I can't stay at my fucking job anymore. I had to change. I've had a lot of stuff go through my head the last couple of months. Even during episode 5, and even during Losty episode, our name for episode 4, I basically decided that I've really got to start making some fucking changes in my goddamn life. I mean, I'm in my early 40s now, and I had the same job for 15 years. I couldn't take it anymore. I'm getting yelled at from every fucking angle. You know, even people who don't even fucking know me, I'm getting yelled at by. You know, I'm getting yelled at by fucking payroll people and shit like that for things that are way beyond my fucking control and way beyond my motherfucking minimum wage pay grade. So, you know, I've been looking for jobs and stuff like that. But the problem is, here in New Jersey, you have to have a car to basically go outside and do anything. So recently, you know, my mother and I, you know, we got together. We found a whole bunch of my deceased father's stuff. We sold it to a pawnbroker. We got quite a bit of money out of the deal, somewhere around maybe $20,000. And my mother basically bought me a new car. You know, it's a Ford EcoSport. And, you know, I gotta tell you, I'm in love with the goddamn thing. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, minus the key you were telling me earlier.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing with these new modern cars. I gotta get used to having, you know, the no key, you know.
It's the button push?
Yeah, it's the button push.
You'll get used to it and you'll love it.
Yeah, I'm sure I am, but I mean, I've had the car for almost a month. I've got a couple hundred miles on it because, you know, basically, you know, like I said, I really gotta start changing my motherfucking life.
You know what though?
The way I'm living right now is friggin' ridiculous. Yeah, and we all have a friend. You know, we all know somebody who's living the way I've been living. You know, the way I've been living the last couple of months. And I'll be honest with you, man, I don't really think he's in a good space. But we're not. You know, other than that, we're not really gonna mention him here.
Well, one thing that Bates and I were talking on the way over here was that, like, out of everybody that we've known amongst our friends group, our circle, you've changed probably the most in the last 5 or so years. And, you know, like, we've always saw these characteristics in you, but they would always come out in little spurts. And ever since big change happened to your life, you started to embrace different things and move in different directions and have more of a confidence, more of a swagger to you, you know, and you started to, I guess, open up to things that you may not have been open to before.
Yeah, I guess it kind of blossomed, you know, kind of like a flower in spring.
Exactly, yeah. And you know, it's those little steps that you started to take that got you to the point that you are now to be ready finally to make that big jump. And you know, sometimes you need that financial, you know, stimuli to pat you on the ass and say, okay, well, you need that next step. Here's what you got to do with the money to get there. And then that's all it takes. It's a couple steps and you're already heading in the right, you know, direction.
Yeah.
And, well, I don't even know how many years I've known you. I just wish you the best of luck for everything because, you know, it's about time.
Yeah. I thank you, Ray. But, you know, like I said, this has been, you know, I was at my job, you know, believe it or not, for 15 years. Yeah, I mean, let's put it this. This isn't a decision that I decided to make just one day and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gone. No, it was a whole bunch of stuff that built up over the years to the point where I said, listen, as much as I liked the job, I didn't like the people at the job.
Right.
You know, I didn't like the people who were above me anymore. I didn't like the people, you know, I didn't like the people who were who were at my level anymore. And I just decided to say, you know what, I gotta change. I can't keep doing this shit. I'm killing myself for nothing. Yeah. So, you know, hopefully the winds of good fortune will blow on me a little more, you know, this year than they did last year. That's the only thing I can hope for.
But it's those little steps that lead you to the big leap, and obviously, you know, that next step in your what's going to be the story of the rest of your life. So, you know, it's awesome that you took that leap, which is it's beyond commendable. Yeah, and
I'm glad for the two other hosts here, the Leather Rebel and Bates, who have also we're also going down a different path of life than I decided to take. But you know, I'm still very happy and very excited for them to hear their news. And you know, honestly, Matt, you know, I think the kid's gonna grow up fine. Yeah, and
at least one person does.
Well, I'm trying. Well, this is part of the change. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm not trying to be the pessimistic shitbag that I normally am.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, and Anthony, I think this, eventual, you know, I hope it goes well. I hope it goes well for you too. You know, because you know, even a couple of years ago when you first introduced us to the woman I'm, you know, for the podcast purposes, I'm going to call the Leather Rifle. Yeah. I even gave her my I even gave her the blessing. That I hope you two eventually find what you're looking for, and it appears at this point that you have. So I'm very, very happy for you.
Thanks. Your brother did too.
Yeah, I know, and and it's been fine. And I'll be honest with you, man, it's been 5 years. It's a couple days away. The unfortunate anniversary of his passing will be 5 years on Wednesday, the day after Christmas. Mm-hmm. But it's I think he's looking. I'd like to hope that he's looking down on us, or looking up at us, depending on how you viewed him.
He's somewhere in the middle.
I mean, no matter where he is in the astral plane, the spiritual world, whatever you believe happens to you after to your soul after you pass on from Earth. I just hope he's cracking a beer open, waiting for one of us to come and basically tell him what's been going on, because I'd like to think that he would be anxious to hear what's the news and everything else about what's going on up here.
Well, you know what, dude, we're all here because of that, to kind of remember him in this way and carry on something neat piece of him, and things that we add to the table. And I have no doubt that he's smiling up or down upon us. Just a real quick personal perspective. I've had several dreams about him. One was a few weeks ago, and there really isn't a lot of interaction in the dream, but this last one, he was super happy, and he looked like Chris.
Yeah.
Backwards hat, Luke Oil jacket, metal t-shirt, jeans, had a cigarette, and he was just smiling and happy. And, that's fucking cool.
That's all you can hope for, man. Yeah. And I'm sorry if I've kind of depressed the audience a little bit, but, that's one of the reasons why we do, that's kind of a galvanizing force amongst the four of us here, why we do this podcast and why we named it, the Metal Beer Horror Podcast, now on Dead Entertainment, via Way of Life Network.
What a plug!
Yeah, look at you. You're getting good at that.
I've always been good at it. I've just never been able to put all the words together because I do a lot of stuttering and stopping and starting. So
hey, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
But I completely agree. I think his passing pulled us apart a little bit. We stopped doing things that we would do yearly. We didn't get together as much. We all dealt with it in our own weird ways and depressing ways, happy ways, and it got to that point where we take little bits of his character that we've known over the years, and I can't give you examples, but just, knowing him and knowing everything that basically, everything we went through, every day you use a little bit of knowledge, whether it be a movie knowledge or something silly like that, or maybe a life decision where you're just like, oh, what if I've talked to Chris about it over some beers? Mm-hmm. What outcome would have come of that? And we carry that with us every day, and I feel like us stealing his name for this podcast, which he's probably, wherever he is, he's
cursing me.
He's cursing you for sure.
Well, you know what? He can blame me for the brunt of it because I'm the one who said. Yeah, you know what? We can use his name because no, I mean when we first started this podcast, we were all kind of everybody else, the Leather Rebel, Bates, Mungus, they're all kind of tentative. Yeah, and they came to me for the final decision, and I said, yeah, I think it would be a great way to carry on his legacy. To basically discuss the things that we enjoyed and the stuff that we enjoyed with him. Mm-hmm. That we enjoyed with him while he was here. And I don't think he'd be too pissed off at us for keeping the name. But I mean, if he is, I'll take the brunt for it. I don't care.
If he is, tough shit. You hear that, Chris? Tough shit.
Tough shit. Fuck you.
But the ultimate point that I was trying to make, that even if we have only 6 episodes of this, it might not seem like some big carrying on of the legacy. But the thing that this thing did was it opens us up to keeping continuous communication. We talk more than we've talked in a while. Maybe not, what was it? What were we going to call him? The Data Rebel?
Yeah.
Maybe not the Data Rebel over here, but in any case, we're all still very much in each other's lives, and now lives are evolving for pretty much everybody at this table, and we're going through that together. And I without Chris, without stealing his name, without us taking the leap and finally saying, "Hey, can we use that name, Tom?" We wouldn't be here. Maybe we would have drifted further apart, but we didn't. And 2019, who knows what's going to happen? I know some really cool shit's happening for you guys, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep making this happen, even if we got to record a podcast while one baby's screaming and one wife texting LR to come home because stuff is happening. We're going to keep rolling, and I think that's awesome.
Bloody, drunk, and heavy.
Fucking A, man.
All right, so this is still the intro, so I'm just going to kind of zoom past the next few points here. Way of Life Live is nearing its 50th episode. That's crazy. Can't believe it's been that many already, but it has. So we're trying to plan something cool for it, but I don't know.
That 50 is creeping up faster than I expected. I'm thinking about taking a couple weeks off just to have a few more weeks to plan something for episode 50. But knock on wood, we'll see.
We just passed our 1-year anniversary on the website for deadentertainment.com, and the growth we've experienced in 1 year has been massive. When you look at the analytics of it from where we started this time last year to now, it's pretty impressive how the site has grown, and it's only going to continue to grow.
Yeah, it's great. We're getting larger audiences. We're having a lot of companies reach out to us to cover things. We've had a lot of independent companies do that right from the start. But last month, or this month, we were reached out to by Hulu to cover a horror anthology show called Into the Dark that just recently came out, and I interviewed the main star of the holiday episode, Christmas episode, Puka. So that was pretty crazy. It was very nerve-wracking. Like, I've met celebrities, I've talked to celebrities, but I've never been on a conference call with a celebrity and his agent and the company that's involved in all this, and then sat there and went in professional interview. I had recording equipment on the phone and everything. We transcribed it. But the point is from December 1st last year to now, we made quite the leap. And, man, I can't wait till December next year to see where we end up after that.
What's really awesome? This really carries on what Chris did and what he and I did together with the websites when we were doing Unstoppable Force together, and then he went and was doing Rush of Power and It'll Be Horror, and we would always find ourselves doing that with musicians. So I think it's really awesome that that's transitioned into what you guys are doing with the horror genre. So that's cool.
Very cool.
So today is the 23rd. On the 21st, we did another live commentary, a very lively live commentary. It was a lot of fun of Silent Night, Bloody Night. Not Deadly Night, Bloody Night. And we had a couple of guests, and definitely want to thank those guests again. My buddy Stefan from Sweden, and Mungus' buddy Chris, who joined us for our very first live commentary. So if you haven't checked that one out, go ahead and check it out. It's a fucking hoot.
Yeah, that live commentary, I was utterly miserable before, and it seems to be a pattern. I'm just one miserable prick leading into these podcasts and everything. I dread it. I don't want to be there. And that day particularly, I had my living room office area flood because of a sub pump going in the garage, which was really great. So I had to work an 8-hour day, come home and help clean up all of that, and basically want to shoot myself because I had graphics and everything else to do for this podcast that I didn't want to do anymore. And my God, it was by far one of the most enjoyable times. A lot of fun, a lot of jokes. I don't know what that movie was. We watched the movie. I don't know anything about it. I certainly didn't hear any dialogue. But we have stories, and I think we made up our own narrative in a way.
Hat Lady did everything.
Nobody knew who she was and why she was there.
And the car was evil. That's why it was being attacked and finally set on fire at the end of the movie.
And the overall message, as we've learned when we saw Krampus, was, having Yankee Candle is by far the best route to go because you don't get, engulfed in flames when you're cleaning out your chimney.
And there were a lot of candles, a lot of lanterns in this movie.
And I was pitching different products for it. Yankee Fireplace.
There you go.
The Yankee Lanterns,
Yeah, it could be sponsored by Duraflame. Yeah.
So Yankee Candle, if you're listening,
look us up. We'll fly us out to wherever Midwestern town because they're not in California. They're in some bumfuck.
They're like Michigan or something, or Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. The middle of the cornfields.
Some homely little place.
Yeah, they're out in the middle of nowhere.
It's like 6 old ladies melting wax into jars.
Speaking of candles, I'm not going to deviate too much, but I really wish we had the pre-stream conversation being recorded because our Swedish friend was so blown away by how candles look in America. He was calling them like pails with wax in them, and like they don't have wicks apparently in Sweden. So like I'm trying to figure out, did they just set the wax on fire? Like, do they have torches dipped in wax? Like,
maybe it's a huge bucket. Maybe it's a huge bucket of napalm. You don't know.
I don't know, but he was flabbergasted by how candles look in America because we were joking about Yankee Candle and not joking, trying to get sponsorship. And he looked up one and he's like, what the hell is this thing?
So with that being said, we're going to start this episode the way we start each episode. And that's cracking open a cold one.
And that was just like a little preview of what the night was to hold, but that was fun. That was a very fun commentary. I don't even think you need the movie to watch to listen to that commentary. Just listen to it for the hell of it, because you're going to have 4 people just cracking jokes, and some inappropriate, many inappropriate, but a lot of humor, a lot of good times.
Alright, so this episode's beer of choice is a kind of like a craft brew from Ireland. I don't even know how else to explain this one. Called Cael Crede. It is a barrel-aged ale in Irish whiskey casks. This thing is only 6.5% alcohol, and it is brewed in Drumshanbo County in Leitrim, Ireland. So it's an interesting one.
Oh, it's an import, definitely.
Nice place to visit.
Drumshanbo.
Especially this time of year.
Cheers.
Yeah, tell us about that part of Ireland, Tom.
Well, let me tell you something about that part of Ireland, laddie. Alright? When the wheat grows as high as an elephant's eye, and the corn is as born as something else, they mix together, and then they put it in the whiskey can, then they put it in the whiskey barrel. You brew it like a regular beer, unlike their shitty Budweiser. Fuck Budweiser, and their fucking Jim Beam kind of abomination to what this thing is. They can all go fuck themselves over at Budweiser as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, guess what? I ate your Lucky Charms, you fucking leprechaun.
You son of a bitch. You know, if I didn't get out of leprechaun jail, I'd beat the crap out of you. I'd set your house on fire and sell your children for a cow.
Oi, you want to go now?
I've already gone. You think you're the first one?
Come on then, let's go.
All right. Hey, goddammit. You motherfuckers.
We haven't even drank the beer yet, by the way.
No, this is just me on a regular day.
Hey, pass it down.
Pass it down, pass it down, pass it all and all around.
I'm trying to decide whether you just set your entire people back X amount of years.
Hey, well, I'm probably never going to Ireland anyway,
so you know what?
Down
a number of how many years you guys got set back.
Well, my family goes back to County Mayo, so you know if we do anything there, then I feel sorry for them. But that's not the case.
All right, cheers.
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 Oh. This isn't my first time drinking this beer. I actually, when I bought them at Costco, shocking, right? I bought one, and it was so good that I went back and I stocked up. And this was actually an extra one that my boss didn't drink, and he gave it back to me.
Nice,
So it's lucky that we even got to have this one, because I had already drank it all.
I love the fact that the label, like we're celebrating the holidays right now. It's got the Christmas greens, Christmas
it's got
gold. It's got a little bit of a holiday feel to it.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of a holiday feel to the
Taste
label.
is great. Taste is great though.
You can taste it's Irish. Like it just tastes Irish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without a
I don't know what that means.
It's got like this smooth and like almost creamy
coffee.
Taste. Yeah, like
there's like coffee notes in
Bailey's
it.
Feel to it.
Yep.
Like it. If you've ever had an Irish car bomb, it has that vibe. The Guinness and whatever else is in it.
But if you note, it's not like a Guinness because it's way more carbonated.
Less
Less
heavy
nitro.
feeling too.
Well, you got to remember something. Guinness is a stout beer. All right, it's crafted a little bit differently than you would craft your regular ales, lagers, pilsners, that kind of Lembecs, that kind of deal. Yeah, so so comparing this to Guinness does absolutely nothing for either one because they're completely different.
Well, I only mentioned the Guinness because that's generally what we use in the car bomb. This is definitely a less heavy beer. It obviously it's clearly an ale, but it has that same sort of feel when you combine all those ingredients together for a car bomb. I mean
it does have a kind of slightly heavy mouthfeel to it. You swish it around a little bit. It sticks around for a while.
But it's got a nice color. It's not like fucking the endless void that is Guinness.
Oh yeah, no, it's not black on black. I mean, this is a nice
caramel.
This is a nice, exactly, a caramel, kind of a dark brown color to it.
Great aftertaste. Like I like the.
It's the smoothness, I guess, from the whiskey barrels.
Yeah, it's very very relaxing.
There's no nasty bitter aftertaste. It's very clean, and again, it just feels more carbonated than most beers. Yeah,
well, I don't know exactly how they brewed it, but I don't know. Maybe it being in brewed in a whiskey barrel has a little something to do with it. I don't know.
Simply put, it's smooth and delicious, and I would enjoy, say, a cheeseburger with this kind of beer.
You offering to go buy some?
Yeah, why not?
All right, we'll be right back after these messages.
I'll eat anything with any beer.
No, I definitely see his point.
Yeah, like a bacon burger would go well. But what the fuck do I know? Yeah. It's a good beer.
Yeah, and you know what goes? Yeah, you know what goes with burgers? Potatoes. You know where potatoes come from? Fucking Ireland.
And the rest of Europe,
we solved.
Yeah, but I mean, let's put it like this. I mean, in the rest of Europe, you don't have jokes like what does an Irishman eat for the week? A potato and a 6-pack of Guinness. Because that joke wouldn't land without the potato in it.
True.
All right, so at the end of the day, I love this beer. I haven't seen it since I got them last year, which is kind of upsetting because I really enjoy this, especially like during the winter. This is a great winter beer. But at the end of the day, I would drink this in the summer anyway. I would definitely rate this about like an 8 out of 10. It is a solid beer. It's easy. It's the kind of beer that if you want to get into, heavier Irish beers and maybe work your way up to stouts, this is the kind of beer you start with. This is a good beginner's beer before you transition into stouts, because it is a heavier ale.
It's heavy, but it's not super heavy.
And it's not crazy alcoholic. I think it's only like 6.5.
Yeah.
So it's like 1 or 2 of these is not going to get you drunk. It's warming, and it's just a comforting beer. You drink it and you just feel good. It's just a nice feeling.
It's a good one.
Wonderful feeling.
Wonderful feeling. If you don't get that reference, go listen to our American Hippie in Israel live commentary right here on Dead Entertainment on YouTube.
Way to make them go back in the archives.
Yeah. Pause this. Actually, finish the episode, then go watch that.
Yes, exactly.
What do you think?
I think you nailed it when you said it tastes like a holiday type of beer. Like its taste. I can't think of the one that I had a couple years ago. I want to say it was a Leinenkugel holiday beer or something like that, but it was very similar in taste. But I was straight up buying that the entire winter. Like, that was my winter beer. And this brings back a lot of memories, but it has the shades of traditional Irish beer. I'm not getting the heaviness out of it because, like, I've had heavier stouts where, we call Guinness a meal in a can. That was a joke we had for many, many years.
Mm-hmm. Irish people do that too,
right? But
this
is something you have a nice healthy meal, you know, like a good steak dinner, a good cheeseburger and fries and everything. It's relaxing and it's tasty and I don't know, comforting is the best word. I don't think you could describe it better than that.
It's a comfort beer. I never knew a comfort beer existed.
Yeah,
but goddamn,
sure.
if this is not a comfort beer.
Yeah. So like, did you even go to number
8?
8. Yeah, I would probably go 8.5.
Yeah, I'm giving this an A2 because Mungus and Bates pretty much said all there is really to say about this beer. I mean, Bates said it was like a transition. This is kind of like a good jumping point to transition into heavier kind of stout-like beers like Beamish or Guinness. Mungus said, this is a beer that you would have with a typical meat and potatoes kind of meal, be it a steak, be it a hamburger, be mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, French fried potatoes.
Okay, this isn't a fucking cooking show.
Well, I'm fucking Irish.
Alright, so we're going to get into our holiday discussion here. I don't know why we have a holiday discussion on this podcast, but it's right there in the notes.
Basically because we're not doing general hostility this time.
Snowdrift Vanilla.
That's it.
Because I love those. Then this is a beer for you. You guys hit the nail on the head. It's a comfort beer. It's awesome. I give it an 8.5.
Alright. There you go. There's no Olympics going on.
Exactly. The thing is I envisioned this podcast a little bit sooner. Holidays haven't happened yet for us. It is the 23rd or something. So we're kind of in the spirit. Maybe we want to be. And I was hoping to put the whip on Bates over here to get the edit done quicker. But based off of what we've recorded so far, he's going to have to tweak some stuff. So if this comes out before the New Year, you're still in that Christmas spirit. So we're talking holidays, and you're going to like it.
Candy canes and marshmallows.
Disgusting.
Sounds like a porno I watched. No.
I can eat like 2 marshmallows a year. Candy canes are just fucking the Satan sticks of.
Is it because you don't like peppermint?
I hate peppermint.
I like peppermint a lot.
It makes me fucking gag. That
Really?
coconut.
Do you know there's a peppermint beer that is absolutely nasty?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, I mean, come on, it's peppermint
I'm
and
sure-
beer. I mean, how good can it taste?
Well,
I think that's the better
actually
question.
might be worse than that awful pepper beer you had.
Oh
I
my
think that's
God.
what the one is. It was called Naughty and one was called Nice. It was a red bottle and a green bottle. And
They should have both been called shit.
the guy we're not mentioning name when he brought his crackhead friend over to my place, and we were feeding her those beers, and she was drinking them like they were out of style. Like they were out of style.
She was like, "Oh my god, free liquor!"
Yeah, I knew she. Let's play this. I knew I wasn't gonna like her. When the first thing she does is she comes into the house. She doesn't even sit down. She just grabs like a bottle like Jack Daniels and just starts glugging it down.
I don't even think she greeted anybody really.
No,
She
no.
didn't. I think he who will not be named was basically trying to greet her, but she was kind of like fighting past to get to the liquor bucket.
I was eyeballing all my belongings, hoping that nothing would go missing.
I was like, no matter where she was positioned, I was just like, was she fucking eyeballing something over there? Like I was eyeballing her, watching her eyeball.
Yeah.
Probably like, I don't know. She had probably blurred vision.
Yeah, but we opened that can or bottle of that pepper beer. We each took a sip. It was like, and she just like, oh my god.
I mean, let's play this. I'm Irish, so I'll pretty much try to drink anything. But even I didn't like that shit. I mean, it was just, oh god, it was like drinking medicine. Yeah. And that's being kind. I mean, you think of taking a big bottle of NyQuil, gulping it down.
No, NyQuil tastes way better.
And then you take a couple of those peppermint discs, kind of like the butterscotch discs, except they're peppermint, and you just throw them in your mouth. That's what it tasted like to me. It was
it was really really bad.
It was just unholy.
I'm a huge fan of peppermint. I was a guy that steals candy canes off of Christmas trees as a kid. They were the shit. And then a small side story about that was. We kept decorations for a long, long time. So it's like all of our decoration, our star on the top of the tree was bought a year before my parents got married 30 some odd years ago. That thing is barely staying together. But one thing that's, that continues with everything that's on my tree is we buy stuff and then it ages. That includes the candy canes.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute now. Are you trying to tell me that they recycled the candy canes
every year? Well, they put them back in the Christmas tree box and then put them away.
Oh, I know.
See, I do the same thing, but I don't eat the candy canes. I don't like them. So I agree with Bates where I'm not a fan of candy canes. I keep them in the plastic, and I hang them on the tree. So it's like an ornament. It's a cheap ornament, and it fills in stuff.
And they don't go bad. Bugs don't try to get wrapped.
Right, because it's wrapped in there.
Yeah,
so you're fine.
It's wrapped, and you got them in the nice plastic containers. Well, I went to go get a candy cane off the tree. And I think it was about 20 years old. One of the candy canes that I opened to try to enjoy. And it basically tasted like rubber. If you had a candy cane, it's like a one of those things that you just kind of suck on or whatnot. This thing, I went to go bite one, and it tasted like a licorice. Like it just melted. I was so disgusted.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell us that it turned to dust when you opened it.
It rightfully should have, instead of this weird satanic rubber.
Instead of the weird flavor altering, it should have just basically crumbled into. Yeah, exactly. It should have crumbled into like sand, like Christmas sand.
That's like I think it's the McDonald's cheeseburger story where somebody put it in a box for several years.
Yes.
And then they opened the box.
It was exactly the same.
It was still intact. Yeah, nothing had happened.
Oh,
yeah, it's almost like marine rations. They keep these things around for decades, and some of them used to have this stuff called tropical chocolate in it.
All right. Oh yeah. It was actually Hershey's.
Yeah, it was Hershey. Yeah, it was Hershey's chocolate. It was meant for warmer climates because the humidity would melt the chocolate. So they had to find a way to keep this stuff around for a long time. So they basically made a different variation of chocolate. And unfortunately, I had it once because my father was in the army during Vietnam, and he had and I didn't know what it was. He had a few MREs actually, and they
actually go for some big money.
Yeah. And trust me, there's a YouTube channel of a guy who does nothing but eat stuff from M.R.E.s.
Are you talking about Steve M.R.E.
Yes.
1989?
Yes.
What's an M.R.E.? What's that?
Meal ready to eat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. It's a ration. Have you ever played like Metal Gear Solid or something like that? You know how Snake has like 3 rations?
I've actually seen one. My uncle was in the army, and he brought my brother and I these brown packages.
Yep.
One said hot dog, and one said, I think, burger or something.
Yeah.
And we never opened them. Like it just looked very questionable. Like we didn't want to do it.
Yeah, it looks dodgy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember my father had a couple of these lying around. I was a little kid. Let's play this. This is so far back.
Holiday talk, everybody.
This is so far back. We lived in Queens. Me, my family. Because I wasn't born in New Jersey. I was born in Queens, New York, and I didn't move here until I was about 10 years old.
Outlander!
Outlander! Yes, Brent, come at me with pitchforks, you New Jersey scum. Anyways.
Go back to your pot of gold.
Go fuck yourself. So, me and my brother saw, Hershey's. We saw tropical chocolate. We didn't know what the hell it was. And so, my dad, he used to work late nights. He used to fix trucks for different, for various companies. Most importantly, packing company, I think it was called AA or something like that, and eventually a place in New Jersey called Porky's where they did a lot of like frozen meats and stuff. So back to the tropical chocolate. Me and my brother see it. We're little kids. We're like 6 years old at the time. This is like 1983, and so we see chocolate. We eat it. Me and him cried. Well, we cried. We're like, this is chocolate. And so my dad comes downstairs and he's like, "What the hell's the crying about?" And he sees the tropical chocolate. He sees one thing of the tropical chocolate open. He's like, "Oh my God, you kids didn't eat it, did you?" I said, "I thought it was chocolate." So we ended up getting rushed to the hospital because we didn't know how he didn't know how long this stuff was around for, and this is back in my father was in the army for a year during the Vietnam War, 1969 through 1970. So this stuff at the time was about 15 years old. Wow. So we end up going. So he basically ends up rushing us to the hospital. Thank God there was nothing wrong with us. But still, it was just
rancid chocolate won't really hurt you. It'll be a little fat blooming in it, and it might taste bad. It might give you the shits for a day.
Yeah, but
that's about it.
Yeah, but
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, but my father had no idea. We didn't know. We didn't know there were different types of chocolate because you get a Hershey bar, figure and being 6 years old, you figure all chocolate is just regular chocolate. So as a precaution, he rushed us to the hospital. Turns out there was nothing wrong with us. And
you're just dumbasses for eating mystery chocolate.
Basically, when you're a kid, you're kind of a dumbass anyway. Because because you don't have any life experience in anything. You just don't know.
So if you were to describe what this thing tasted like, do you have like a recollection of it?
I really don't. All I know is.
I think we're just going to say chicken. Well, let's go with chicken.
Yeah, we'll go with chicken. I mean, what the hell? Everything tastes like fucking chicken anyways. It's, you get to that point in your life where,
basically, candy tastes like chicken if chicken was a candy.
Well, if it was tropical chocolate by Hershey's, probably from about 1969 or 1970 when the Stooges ruled the earth, then yes.
That was a Death Clock reference, by the way. Toki.
I think we should kind of put the Keanu Reeves saying "whoa" in after he's done.
Whoa.
Oh, there you go.
No way.
And the moral of the story, kids, is don't re-gift chocolate candy for Christmas. That's from the Vietnam War because it doesn't taste good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, live and learn. How am I to know?
So
All right. So that's some interesting holiday discussion.
I think we should rename this podcast an ADD podcast. We'll start on one tangent and just where we end up.
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about holiday movies. Yeah, that's what it says here in the notes. We got on to M.R.E.s somehow.
Damn it, we're talking about candy canes and M.R.E.s.
All right, let's steer this back onto movies. Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be horror movies here.
Could be any holiday.
But most people seem to enjoy the holidays. I personally, I don't care about the holidays. It means I gotta spend fucking money. It means I gotta see people I probably don't care about.
We love you too, Bates.
Yeah, now we're never leaving.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
It also means my birthday's almost here, and most people love their birthday. I don't give a fuck about my birthday. Leave me alone on my birthday.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for at my point, man. I just want peace and quiet.
Seriously, just let me fucking have a couple beers, get drunk, fall asleep on the couch, and leave me alone. So, the holidays for me isn't really as big as everybody else. I'm not crazy festive. I'm very generous, but I am not festive. It's not my thing.
I look forward to getting my gift.
Can't get shit.
Wow. A year of podcasting.
Picking your ass up today was your gift.
Well, I really appreciate
that. Tom's driving, got a car again. What's your excuse?
I have a car.
Where's your license?
We'll leave it at that.
Oh, exactly. So... But everybody, whether you like the holidays or not, everybody has a holiday movie that they do enjoy. Most holiday movies suck, let's be honest here. But there is a couple of choice holiday movies. Yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. That counts.
Yep.
So, personally, my probably favorite holiday movie, again, it could be horror, could not be horror. It's, and Christmas Evil is definitely up there. But in terms of just something the entire family could watch... would always be Scrooge. I love Scrooge. Bill Murray, Bobcat Goldthwait, frickin' the dude who sang Hot, 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 what's his name? Buster Poindexter. Buster Poindexter as the ghost of Christmas Past, who is unbelievable.
Which I always found funny because he was in a band called the New York Dolls from the early 70s, and you see pictures of him dressed up in the heavy glam stuff, from 1973, 1974, and then you see him doing Hot, Hot, Hot. To me, it's just hilarious. It's just a mindfuck on another level. It's hilarious.
Carol Kane. I've always been a big fan of Carol Kane.
And she's usually good in anything she's in.
Exactly, man. The Ghost of Christmas Present, and then the dude from Gremlins 2. I don't remember his name, but he was in that movie. But it's just. And Mama Fratelli. Mama Fratelli was in Scrooge as well. I think it was one of her last roles before she died.
Who, Anne Ramsey?
Is that her name?
I think so.
Yeah, no.
Because she was also in another, and this isn't a holiday movie, but she was in another movie that I liked a lot when I was
growing up. Mama from the Train?
Yes.
Really good movie.
Yes.
It is a good movie. But Scrooge was always one of those movies, whenever I see it on, it's a movie I have to watch. And Karen Allen. Yeah, I love Karen Allen. I mean, she's just very, very sweet, very wholesome.
Yeah.
And everything she does, I don't know. Just she has that kind of face that just like draws you into whatever she's.
Yeah, she makes you kind of fascinated in what she's doing in the movie, and it's never disappointing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I would put Scrooged up there on my list too.
Yeah, so that is definitely like my choice for like just a holiday movie I can sit there and tolerate and actually enjoy. Probably like one of my favorite lines and scenes from that movie is when they're trying to get the little antlers on the mouse. Bill Murray looks at the guy and he goes, "Have you tried Staples?" It's just the way he delivers the line. It's just one of my like favorite memories of that movie. What about you, Mungus? What do you got?
I have like a tie. I think one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time would probably be Gremlins. It's a holiday movie. It has comedy elements to it. And it's pretty fucking scary for a kid. Like I was one of the things that I told my good friend Chris when he had his daughter. I was like, I can't wait to sit down with Lydia and watch Gremlins with her. Obviously, I want to be there with Star Wars and Ghostbusters and things like that. But Gremlins is a staple for any kid growing up. I rewatched Gremlins last year and. It's amazing that my parents let me watch that as a kid because the Gremlins themselves are pretty fucking frightening. The scene with the microwave, and the mother in the kitchen. Yeah. And there's some really vicious horror elements in that movie. And apparently Chris Columbus's original script was more based on horror. So he toned it down a bit. I think, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but I think it was at the advice of Steven Spielberg. And he basically was like, tone it down a little bit, make it a little more accessible. And this was for the sake of making a good movie, not making a movie that will sell. And I, having seen some of the stuff or heard some of the stuff from the original script, I think they made the right decision. But being that I'm a diehard horror fan and I love the holidays, I'm not overly festive or religious or anything like that, but I enjoy the season. The season has a bit of an air to it. And I like that experience. And you get all of that from Gremlins.
Sorry, I'm looking at the football game.
Bates just made this really weird, like, a frozen face. And I was just like, are you having a stroke over here? While I talk about Gremlins, are you stroking out?
No, I'm listening to you, but I'm watching this game here.
We all kind of had the same fear with Bates over there that he had the stroke face.
Yeah. I'm like looking down. I'm like peeking down underneath all the microphones and wires.
I'm like, oh my god,
with this big, stupid, dumbfounded face.
The next thing that I was expecting to happen, he was just going to tip off the chair and fall down like a rock.
Start twitching.
That would make for an interesting episode 6 and a conclusion to this podcast. But Gremlins,
my
awesome.
Child growing up fatherless.
3 uncles and a baby. But Gremlins, amazing. And the other film, I'm not going to dive too much into it, is of course National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I grew up watching that movie, and that became a holiday tradition of just watching it no matter what. For many, many years there, we'd go to our buddy's house, which we'd called the Dungeon, and not for anything weird or sexual, just, well, there's reasons.
No, there was weird things going on down there.
There were weird things going down over the years, but...
Yeah, but there was never any sexual stuff going on down there.
Yeah, thankfully.
Well, that we know of.
Well... anyway,
not when I was around. So I don't
those
know
of us
about
that
you guys.
brought women into the dungeon. Different
but in
story.
any case, I would always walk down to his house, and Christmas Day, me and him, we didn't do a lot of shit after the family left. So it was always a situation where I'd walk down to his house, we'd pop on the Christmas episode of Married with Children, and we'd pop on Christmas Vacation and a few other things too. And just hang out, drink, and watch the movie. So
probably WrestleMania 3.
And that was my cue to leave.
Yeah,
because I didn't want to deal with that shit endlessly. So I've got so many memories surrounding that movie. Even though I could quote it in my sleep, it never gets old to me. So What about you?
Well, you basically took one of my movies in Christmas Vacation. I remember me and Chris, going to go see that in the theater, and we just laughed our balls off. In fact, we watched it twice in the theater because we were laughing so hard the first time we lost track of time, and they started the movie again. Nobody came to throw us out of the theater. But this is when Bloomfield Center had theaters, not a empty wasteland, of an area, and a place that's pretty much going to become an empty wasteland of an area. But my other holiday staple, I got two holiday staples. I'm going to make this real quick. One is when I watch a movie with my mother. There's a movie called Christmas in Connecticut. It's from the 40s. It's it's one of my mother's favorite movies around Christmas time. It's basically kind of like this woman who does articles for a magazine or something like that, where she's kind of like that day's version of like Martha Stewart, like the domestic goddess kind of thing. And basically she doesn't know how to do anything. So, and somebody wants to come over for dinner, give her a big, contract or something like that to come work for their magazine. So she's kind of got to bullshit her way through, all the Christmas stuff. He has people helping her out and everything else. It's goofy, but it's from the 1940s. So, it can be forgiven. I really don't remember anybody who's in it or anything like that. But that's the movie I watch with my mom usually on Christmas Eve, which I'm going to be going down there tomorrow night. And the movie I usually watch by myself is in my eyes, classic movie Jingle All the Way, basically because it has Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, also, let's play this. Everybody knows, the awesome action stuff he did in the 80s, like, as goofy as they were. Stuff like Commando, Predator, and my personal favorite, The Running Man.
I love The Running Man.
Yeah, and you can kind of put that under a Christmas movie too because of Dynamo. Yeah, where
the fat guy who sings.
The fat guy who sings.
The only stalker who lived.
And Arnold's coming. Come on, Christmas tree! I'm coming to kill you, Christmas tree! And so, but Jingle All the Way is more or less a live-action cartoon. It's a very goofy movie. There's nobody really likable in it. Phil Hartman comes off as a heartless scumbag who's trying to nail Schwarzenegger's wife. The kid's a whiny little...
these cookies!
You just mentioned my favorite line. You just mentioned one of my favorite lines in the movie where he's talking... where Phil Hartman and Arnold Schwarzenegger are talking because he has to get this Turbo Man action figure for his whiny, goofy kid, who I hate the kid too. I hate all the kids. Basically hate everybody in the movie except for Sinbad. And he's not even all really that sympathetic either. But, it's it's a sappy, kind of over-the-top, live-action, cartoonish movie. And Bates just kind of hit on the theme of one of my favorite lines in the movie because Phil Hartman's helping Schwarzenegger's wife make cookies or something like that, and so at some point he just goes, "Put the cookie down!" At which point I just bust my gut laughing. I don't need to really see the movie too far after that, but I watch anyway because I admit it's very sappy, it's very stupid, but it's just something that I personally enjoy. But what are your movies, Ant?
Well, you guys hit a lot of great ones. I don't want to repeat anything, but I will say I love Scrooged. I have a gremlin on my Christmas tree, and I've never seen the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger before.
Yeah, I was just watching it the other day. It's a lot of fun, and a lot of people give it shit, but it's good. It's a good-hearted, fun movie.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, this is Arnold doing comedy, which
it's slapstick.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Which I'm surprised he didn't do more of. I'll be honest with you, because
he's surprisingly good at it.
Yeah, exactly. Twins, he was good.
Twins was good.
Twins was good in it, but
Kindergarten Cop was slapsticky.
Yeah, but Kindergarten Cop had some of his greatest lines ever, like "It's not a tumor," and "Who is your daddy?" and "What does he do?" Yeah.
Well,
his slapstick is pretty good. We're just gonna forget Junior was ever made.
Yeah, that movie sucked ass.
I don't even think I've seen it.
Yeah,
trust me, you don't need to see it. It's one of those movies that you see it and then you want to unsee it immediately.
Fair enough.
You know that they were gonna make a sequel to Twins, I think called Triplets, where they were gonna find out that Eddie Murphy was like their third brother.
Oh Christ Almighty!
Wasn't this discussed like a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
No,
I swear to God, bro, I fucking read it somewhere.
It was around the time where they announced that. What was that the movie Tower Heist? I think when Tower Heist came out, they were talking about Eddie Murphy's big return to the comedy he's known for, and I think there was a lot of talks going around about this movie coming out, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it transpired.
Well, I'm still hoping, just to kind of just to stay on the Arnold subject, that we do get that last Conan movie. We haven't heard anything about it in a long time. I know Rebel over here is a big Conan fan. Yeah, I love the very first Schwarzenegger Conan movie, and this was supposed to be a direct sequel to it.
Yeah, I liked them both. I liked both Barbarian and Destroyer.
Destroyer was so...
I personally like Destroyer. I don't care what anyone says.
That whiny bitch screaming Bombada all movie. Fuck her and fuck Bombada. Bombada was a dickhead.
Bombata, I'm going to kill you, Bombata.
I love when they do time jumps like that, like where they have a sequel to the very original,
like 40 years later.
Because I'm picturing Arnold with the the hair, but with white hair and his beard and everything.
But still jacked.
Oh my god, he could be amazing.
The premises behind it would be King Conan.
Right.
So he would be later in his years
and
troubled and yeah. So I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
I read like the overall plot outline. It was just like, this needs to be made. Like that Jason Momoa shit we got years ago. That needs to be forgotten. But this Schwarzenegger Conan we need this.
Yeah, we need to see King Conan. We need to see King Conan.
And you know what might kick this off into motion though?
The Terminator.
If the new Terminator does well, and I know we've had Terminators that have sucked, and many between
all of them since 2,
basically. But this one is bringing back
3 is tolerable because Schwarzenegger is kind of,
and then after that, it's just
after that
one wasn't bad.
I'm a big fan of the whole series.
There's some ones that are really bad, but this one in particular is having Linda Hamilton come back as Sarah Connor.
Really?
Yeah.
And she looks great.
And she looks like a fucking badass. So, and it seems like
you think Jamie Lee Curtis looks like a badass in the new Halloween movie?
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah, Linda. Well, it's like
All right, so
Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay.
I'm gonna answer your question before you even say it.
Spoiler alert for those who haven't followed. Let me just say it.
Right.
Spoiler alert. In the later movies, her character is already dead.
Right.
And there are letters to John Connor.
Okay,
so
listen. This is
travel.
A time-traveling fucking paradox.
Okay.
There's so many plot holes.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
Multiverse.
Right, but here's the thing, though. One thing they did very well in X-Men Days of Future Past was, with all the time traveling and everything that happened in that movie, it undid the bad sequels. By the end of that film, spoiler alert, everybody that was killed in the terrible movies and shit like that are back. Hugh Jackman's character righted the wrongs, and X-Men Part 3, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, all those shitty ones, except for like First Class and all those didn't happen at all. So I have this feeling that they're going to try to simultaneously reintroduce the old characters while wiping the slate clean and getting back to the stories that matter, which were the first 2 films. And I think that's the best option you could do at this point, because they're way too convoluted and nonsensical. So James Cameron, from what I understand, he had a hand in trying to talk everything over. And, he basically had maybe like a producerial sort of role where he's making sure his baby is in good hands again. With his involvement, with Linda Hamilton's involvement, Arnold's involvement, I think we're up for a very good sequel. That movie does well, you're going to get your King Conan movie.
Sounds good.
Mark my words now.
Well,
Merry Christmas. Nice Christmas
discussion. Merry Christmas.
Happy fucking New Year.
My movies, real quick, would be Elf and Nightmare Before Christmas, because I'm a huge Tim Burton fan.
Yes.
So those are
I've never seen Elf, but everybody that tells me about that film says, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Go watch it now." Like,
it's hysterical. And you know what? I love Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, she's great.
She's my free pass.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
All right, so that's our holiday discussion, I guess.
It was acceptable.
Yeah,
it was fun.
So all right, let's move into a little metal here. Typically on each episode we do what we call a heavy metal showcase, and a lot of times it's local or somewhat local bands or bands that we have a personal connection to, and we'll kind of showcase one of their songs. Not quite the case here.
No, we're gonna do things a little differently this week. This episode.
Yeah, because this is the Christmas episode after all.
Indeed, indeed.
There were a couple songs we could have went with.
Mm-hmm.
Right, definitely. This one's a personal one to me. This is a tradition for me ever since that our good buddy Chris passed away. And this is kind of how I ended the night, after hanging out with Chris for the last time. And this is just by the stroke of luck that I was in the mood to listen to this LA hardcore punk band that he actually got me into many years ago. By the band's name is Fear. They're LA based. They came out in the 70s, late 70s. And they're kind of this dangerous punk band that just, you would hear, they would have a show. I'm just based off of reading. This is me reading because I wasn't born in the 70s, unfortunately. But they would have a show and riots would often happen. And they would do everything in their power to incite them because that was punk rock. They would fucking curse at people, they'd spit on people, and just really embody that fuck you attitude that punk rock was so known for. And this band also kind of like borders on like the early workings of thrash metal. It had that weird transition between punk rock to those thrash bands that were from the 80s. So they did a lot of different things like that. And this one's personal to me because I had the reissue of Fear's The Record. That album is called The Record. And on the reissue, the very last song is called Fuck Christmas. It was a single they put out. It's 47 seconds long. And it's a real nice little song where they're setting it up from a nice Christmas sort of atmosphere. And, you're going to hear the rest. So this is personal to me. I ended the night of Christmas with this album. And every year since, I end the night on Christmas with the song Fuck Christmas because that, partially that night took my friend away. So this is my tradition yearly, and I thought it was fitting to put it on this podcast, for you to hear. So
because it is the Christmas episode.
Exactly.
And fuck Christmas.
Exactly. Our overall message is fuck Christmas or something. I don't know. You heard what I just said, so we're going to play it right now.
Don't despair just because it's Christmas. Children there are so gay at Christmas. All the children on the street hope they get something good to eat. But for me, it's not so great. Fuck Christmas! 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 Fuck Christmas!
There you go. That was Fuck Christmas by Fear.
And I highly recommend picking up the album, The Record.
The Record,
It is great.
yes.
The re-record of The Record, not so bad, but get the original one.
You know what? Better than... Well, actually... let me eat my own words here. I have a dubbed version on cassette that Chris gave me, and the sound is muddy and terrible and horrible. Every mixtape and dub he gave me came out that way because of the stereo that he had, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, you've got the punk rock version of that.
I've got the punk rock version of it. Yep.
You had something you wanted to talk about immediately after this, related to Chris, obviously.
So, I really wanted something to, further carry on a memory of Chris, and I really wanted some type of tattoo to remember him by, something tasteful and something that was right. And I had been struggling with what the design would have been for, a long time. And I finally got it. And what I have on my right forearm as a half sleeve is Iron Maiden Killers, the album cover, which then blends into the Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time Eddie Cyborg from the Wasted Years single. And it's the whole forearm. And here's the story behind it real quick. When I was a kid, I used to steal my older brother's Killers and Somewhere in Time CDs. And that's how I got into Iron Maiden. And that built the premises of conversation between Chris and I when we would walk to high school. How all of a sudden I had this newfound interest in Iron Maiden, which was one of his favorite bands. And he pointed me in the direction of what other albums to look into, where to start, check this out, this is kind of blah, check this band out, and, when you're ready, here are some punk bands. I mean, it was just an explosion of music between he and I, and just countless conversations. And these two albums started that for us. So the piece is finished as of Friday, the first part of it anyways. It was a 3-session piece, so 2 were finished, and the third one, which is happening in January, is going to connect the tattoo on my upper arm with the new piece with Eddie, and it's going to incorporate the Unstoppable Force UF logo, along with some things from Metal Beer Horror and from Way of Life. So the whole thing is going to kind of case in this music piece that I have, and I just think it's fucking awesome that there's so much history behind what I'm doing here. It still means a lot, and it's still stuff that we're working on, we're doing together as friends. It's still music I listen to. It's music you guys know. When I'm 70 years old and can't see my hand in front of my face, I'll know that this is still on my arm, and it'll still be just as awesome as it is now. So this is my tribute to him. It's not done yet, but it will be finished in early January, and I'm super excited to have finally decided and put the design together and piece it together. And I had a great artist, so I'm going to give him a plug. His name is Tut, and he works for Red Rook Tattoo in Pompton Lakes. And I mean, you guys see the work. It's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks amazing.
He has a style. He doesn't do a full outline first. He just starts from one corner and just works his way up. And he's so talented. It's ridiculous. So Red Rook Tattoo in Pompton Lakes. The guy's name is Tut. He's awesome. There's another guy there, Jed, who has a similar style, and they're awesome. So.
Jed, he used to work at Starlight?
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of those guys got displaced after the fire. But check the description below. I'm going to link basically any website, social media that they have in the description this way. If you're ever in Jersey and want a really fucking badass tattoo, take our word for it, because we're looking at it right now. It's awesome.
It's a beautiful piece. The only thing I wish is that it was in color instead of just black and white. That's the only complaint that I have about the tattoo. Other than that, the artwork on it it's almost as good as the album covers itself. More or less. It's fantastic. It is a fantastic looking piece.
And you know what? I would have went color, but my Frazetta's Conan up here is in black and white. So I felt it would have been a little weird to have part color, part black and white. So I just kept the whole theme. And, with the rest that I'm doing in January, it's actually going to look really cool. So you guys will get to see that. I'm looking forward to
seeing when it's done, when we get together
next time,
January, to record our next episode.
Yep.
Wishful thinking.
2020's coming soon, kids.
It'll be properly faded by then too.
Yes. All right, so moving on here, tour talk, I guess. Yeah. Anything to discuss here?
Oh, there's a lot, right, Aaron?
Yeah. So just a quick recap of what's happened since you last heard from us. I go to a lot of shows, more than some of these guys, but some highlights included Helloween back in September, and they were doing the Pumpkins United tour. They played a lot of old material. It was Mike Kiesk and Kai Hansen at the helm again with the band. So they did a lot of stuff from Walls of Jericho era with Kai Hansen singing, which was really awesome. The Full Keeper of the Seven Keys song. The song Halloween, just a lot of old stuff, so it was really good.
Did they do the whole version of Halloween, or did they do like the single edit?
Whole thing.
The whole 13-minute version?
Whole thing, yes.
Oh,
it
man.
was awesome.
Yes.
It was. October 7th, I had the pleasure of seeing Todd Smith and Jason Stapp from Dog Fashion Disco. They did their acoustic tour and brought it to Dingbats in Clifton, and did a lot of songs off of Bethlehem to Oblivion, which is their Christmas album. So some of those songs included "You Don't Deserve a Goddamn Thing for Christmas," "Christmas Angel." They did some Polka Dot Cadaver tunes like "Chloroform Girl." Just a lot of really cool stuff, and it was an amazing show.
The fact that it was an acoustic set was unique in its own right. Just you didn't need the whole big stage production. You didn't need all the instruments. You just needed the artists with their acoustic guitar, and they do a lot of that outside of their main bands. And if you've never heard of Dog Fashion Disco or Polka Dot Cadaver or El Creepo or Knives Out or the other 100 bands that these guys are in, highly, highly recommended. They have a bit of everything in it, and they do a lot of acoustic stuff, and you'll get a vibe for the show that he witnessed.
Absolutely. And speaking of El Creepo, they covered one of my favorite El Creepo songs, which is Skeleton Horse.
Nice.
So I really appreciated that. They're a Baltimore-based band, so if you're in the Tri-State area or even a little further south, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see this band live, so check them out. End of October, 27th, 28th, I was actually in Baltimore for the second ever Days of Darkness Festival, and it was a collection of mostly doom metal bands and a few oddballs. So what I mean by that is I saw a band, a few that I picked out, and some that were some really neat surprises. M.R.E.s, for example, was just an amazing doom metal band. I'd never heard of them before. They've been around for a long time, and they were amazing. Frontline Assembly was a band that I believe they were industrial.
Yeah.
From Germany or somewhere in Europe, and they just put on a great show. Others included Crazy Bull, which is based out of Philadelphia. So some classic rock meets new wave of British heavy metal right there. Let's see who else. Elms, Laser Punk, which was another one that's like industrial. Earth Ride, which sounded like Motorhead. Goblin, who was one of the headliners. And they were supposed to play a movie score in its entirety. Guys, what movie score is that?
Suspiria, right?
That's correct. Well, sadly, they did not do that. They were having sound difficulties. And Mungus knew the answer to that question because not only is he a Goblin fan like I am, and he got me into them, but you were actually supposed to see them live in Brooklyn, weren't you?
I was. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff happened. What were we calling him? Twisted Tea?
Yeah.
Our buddy Twisted Tea decided he was not able to attend the show, which is a huge shocker to none of us sitting at this table.
Yeah.
However,
he's walked out of many a show.
Yeah. The tickets were inherited by me. So I was ready to reach out to some people who might have wanted to go see the show with me in Brooklyn. But that was the day that we had a lot of work to do related to the Hulu interviews that we were putting out. We recently interviewed, I think that interview in particular was with Cecil Gentry, the production designer of the entire series of Into the Dark. So basically my brother and I had to spend most of the evening and the Saturday after cramming for watching this, writing the article, doing the interview, prep and everything like that. And unfortunately, it was a choice between going to the Goblin show and really hammering down what I had to do. And I've seen Goblin a few years ago already. This would have been really unique, especially in the in the venue that they were having it. It was almost like a church. So seeing Suspiria with a live Suspiria score in a church with like this crazy Argento type of lighting, and I've seen pictures of the place, it would have been any Argento fan's dream. But sight comes first, sadly, because I want to be successful in doing this. But what did they actually play instead of Suspiria?
Well, they kind of did a best of.
Okay.
The band leader, Claudio Simon, I think his name is. Simonetti, thank you. He's a bit of a perfectionist. Oh, yeah. So he pretty much walked off stage, pissed off, rightfully so, because they couldn't get the movie to work in the backdrop. So, the live performance wasn't the issue, but rather to see the movie for the audience, they couldn't get it to work. And they had flat screen TVs, mini ones, on the stage facing them, and those were all working. And he turned it to us, said, "Look, it's working, blah, blah, blah." Finally, people were yelling, "We just want to hear your music. We don't care, blah, blah, blah." So they did a quick best of.
I can understand the frustration because one thing that, having seen Goblin before, they have like a stage show with these like shadow dancers, and they come out to various parts of the song, various songs, and I'd imagine that they really rehearse some big thing for Suspiria, because if you haven't seen Suspiria, it's about a ballet with witches and stuff. So obviously they had some really good things to complement the music, just as the music was going to complement the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going to complement the movie.
So, I got to see Goblin. Didn't see what, it was supposed to be, but that's okay. It was still pretty great. Blue Oyster Cult was the other headliner, and they were surprisingly very good. They sounded amazing. They put on a great show. They played all the hits. It was pretty much riot to see the cowbell live.
Yeah, well, I mean that was one of the reasons why. I'll be honest with you, I had things to do that weekend anyway with my mother and stuff like that, so I was unable to attend. I was originally supposed to go, but I was unable to attend. And I'll be honest with you, man. I have some of the Blue Oyster Cult CDs back in my house from like the 70s, early 80s, up to Fire of Unknown Origin from like 1981. And, I'll be honest with you, I just wasn't interested in, I wasn't interested too much in seeing them just do, run through the mill of all the hits that they had. I don't need to hear them do Don't Fear the Reaper, Burning for You,
Godzilla.
A few, yeah, exactly, Godzilla.
Transnomicon.
Yeah, I can't, that one always, although that's from the first album, though. That's really, really deep. But I mean, I would have liked to see, I would like to see him do like Hot Rails to Hell or something like that, but more than likely they didn't do that one.
As a casual fan, I enjoyed it. I had my radio hits and some things I didn't know of, so I'm gonna dive a little deeper to their catalog,
which I can help you with. I can help you do that. So just let me know if you need anything, man. I'll let you borrow it.
Awesome. Another headliner was this band Rome, and they were from somewhere in Europe, and they're more of a mellow, multi-instrument type of band. They were really good, and one of the bands that played before them is called Ecstatic Vision, and they're actually signed to, I think it's Relapse Records or some major label. I can't remember, but they were just absolutely amazing. They totally floored me. They had this electric saxophone and this guitar player that was totally nuts, and they put on a tremendous stage show. And in fact, they were so impressive, I immediately after the performance went and bought all their albums.
Wow.
And I can't stop listening to them. They're so awesome.
Moments when you just like absolutely connect with a band and you're just like, I've got money, what do you have?
Yeah, just young and full of energy. I mean, they nailed it.
And you discovered the whole discography, and it turns out that it's all good. That's the sweetest plum, my friend.
Yeah. So it was a huge win, and that's what I love about this festival. I get a lot of stuff that I know, I get a lot of stuff I don't know, and it's a gamble, and you have a good time. Also caught Perfect Circle on November 6th, and they were pretty awesome. They put on a great light show and stage performance. And November 27th saw Raven at the Dingbats in Clifton, which I didn't go to, but I wanted to mention it here because Chris was a big Raven fan, and I was actually trying to get them to do a memorial concert for him years ago when he first passed, and I figured that would be a great way to kind of remember him, and it just didn't work out with logistics and everything. And I thought it was kind of funny that they had finally come to play Dingbats and didn't make it. But yeah, that's tour talk. Also last one, Attacker played at Dingbats with Mike Lapon's Silent Assassins, and a quick story was the Christmas, the day before Chris passed away, when we exchanged gifts. Obviously it was the last thing I gave him. It was an Attacker t-shirt. So, and then we were texting each other that night, and, hey, do you like your shirt? You're like, yeah, it's awesome. Attacker, fucking awesome. This album cover, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. So I kind of really wanted to go see them last night because of that memory, but, just didn't have the time, and, I couldn't do it. Mungus was talking about, things we don't really do much anymore and how we slightly drifted and whatnot. And I've been a catalyst to that. So, we used to have barbecues in the summer and, gatherings at the diner and, trying to go to Dingbats last night for that show. I just couldn't do it. But, from what I heard, they were awesome. So that's tour talk.
That sounds like you've been busy over there. I haven't been to any shows.
I can't even name the last show that I was at.
That was probably the Misfit show.
Probably. That's kind of sad. Oh, man.
But Tom has his top 10 albums of the year, and he's going to go ahead and go over them right now.
Thank you very much, Bates. As you can tell, from what I was saying earlier, I've had a lot of time on my hands recently, and I've had a lot of time to pour over, these new albums for the year. And this does not encompass everything that I have and all the stuff that I recommend, because there's some stuff I recommend, but it just didn't make the top 10 for whatever reason. All right, so we're gonna start off the top 10 with basically the album of the year, and these are in no particular order, but personally, my favorite album of the year, Judas Priest, Firepower. I mean, this album just basically kicks your ass from pillar to post. And, there's basically really no escaping it. I mean, if you don't have it already, shame on you. If you do have it already, you basically know exactly what I mean. Highlights on this album include the opening track, the title track of the album, Firepower, and the last track on the album, The Sea of Red, which is, which to me brings back memory, it would bring back memories of, war heroes and stuff like that. People who are over fighting for our freedom. We love all the soldiers and everything that they do, and we're very appreciative as Americans. We all should be. So, take that into account when listening to that song. That's just my personal slant on it. All right. Number 2 is Monster Truck. This is a Canadian band that I have been into since the beginning. This is the 3rd album. It's called True Rockers. And it kicks ass. It's there's maybe one song on it that I don't particularly care for, but everything else on the album is just decibel destroying mayhem, and I fucking love it. All right. The highlights on this album for me include the title track True Rocker, which has a guest appearance by Dee Snider of Twisted Sister fame, doing kind of like a minister, kind of like trying to rile up the masses. Kind of break in the middle of the song, which is it's just awesome. By the way, he also had a solo album out this year. I didn't pick it up because as much as I like the man's voice, I'm just not a fan of his solo stuff.
I agree. And, sorry to cut you off, but I did listen to the album, and it took a few times for me to really connect with it. But even so, I didn't like it that much. Still has some good songs on it, though.
Yeah.
I just want to throw something in real quick about Dee Snider. Something that I saw a few months ago that I thought was really cool was his remake of We're Not Gonna Take It. And it's he made it a ballad, a piano ballad.
Yeah.
And cool. He dedicated it to kids fighting cancer.
Yes, I did see that.
It's just really, it just grabs you by the gut, man. I mean, it gave it a whole new meaning, and, it was done so well.
Yes, and there's a fantastic version. There's a fantastic version of that song. It's it's now a staple of classic rock now, and and the other song from this album is Hurricane, which I swear to God, this just proves that Monster Truck, if they went the full metal route instead of kind of like the blues blues based rock and roll that they do and perfected so well, if they went on to become just a full on metal force, I swear to God, this band would dominate everything, man. So check that one out. It's called True Rocker by Monster Truck. Number 3 is Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, the new album Wasteland, which I gotta tell you, this is a band that in my eyes has never put out a Christ awful album. All right, the last studio album they put out was the Night Stalker.
Yes,
which I gotta go back and revisit because that one lost me a little bit, but the first 2 were awesome. I gotta go back and listen to Night Stalker. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a terrible album. I just didn't get into it as heavy as I got into everything else. And I got extremely heavy into this fucking album. Alright, this is just another one by, it just proves that Uncle Acid is a really good friggin' band. Highlights on this one include Wasteland, kind of like it's kind of a slower, kind of ballady kind of song, but, if you know anything about what they sing about, you'll understand that it's more doom than anything else. And Shockwave City, which is kind of about as upbeat as they get, but that song is just fucking devastating, man. It's just fucking awesome. So go pick that one up. Number 4, Visigoth. I talked about this band on the April podcast about one of them being one of the top 5 at that point. They made the top 10. Congratulations, gentlemen. This is just warrior metal, kind of like axes and swords and shit. Like if Manowar were ever fucking important,
or good.
Or now I'm giving the Metal Blade albums by them a pass. You know how I feel about that, Ray. You know how I feel about that.
You should check out a band called M.R.E.s then.
Let's put it like this. 2019's coming up, so I got a bunch of time on my hands as of this moment. So that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
So okay, M.R.E.s. I'm gonna check that out upon Bates' recommendation. But and as good as the sound is, I only have one track to me that stands out called "The Conqueror's Oath." It's the last song on the album. It's also the name of the album. I mean, this song is just it's about 6 minutes. It's just good mid-tempo stuff. It makes you question things about maybe what's going on in your life, and it's just a really good song. Number 5, COC. They came out with an album this year, No Cross, No Crown. Again, it was mentioned in August. And like I said, this album rocks from pillar to post. This album is just fucking awesome. It's amazing that these guys were gone for so long, and then they come back with this album that just basically levels everything in its path. All right. And the highlights for me on this one these are the ones that are early on in the album: The Luddite and Cast the First Stone. Everything else on the album is still really good. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to be disappointed with it. But to me, these are the 2 songs that are just kick-ass 1,000%. All right. We move on now to Monster Magnet with the album Mindfucker, which I got to tell you, this is the best by the band since I know I said 2004's Monolithic Baby in August. I got to recant that. I got to revise that. Because I forgot about 2007's Four-Way Diablo. That album is just fucking wicked as hell. That is just a really good fucking album. So go back in their discography and mind that one. But the new one, oh, by the way, pick up the new one too. The highlights for this one are the title track, Mindfucker, this song called I'm God, which is about 7 minutes of fucking awesomeness, and When the Hammer Comes Down, and When the Hammer's Down. It's just, again, Dave Windorf is like the coolest human being you'll ever know. Number 7, the remake. This is a remake of the Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Not so much for the first disc, because I think I can pretty much speak for everybody here, around on this round table, that Appetite for Destruction is just one of those genre-defying albums. Defined hard rock and metal in the 80s. It kind of straddled the line a little bit in my eyes. But disc 2 is just, if you're really into Guns N' Roses, you're really gonna enjoy this remaster. Basically, all the live songs they do, and they do quite a bit of live stuff. I think there's about 5 or 6 live songs that they do, from various concerts on this second disc. The whole second disc is really good, but stick to the live stuff. Those are just really great. Those are just fantastic. All right, number 8 is Saxon with Thunderbolt, and I've already talked about this in August. It's a good album. Saxon's been around for a very long time. They have a very long, very deep discography. But there's also a wasted decade in there from about 1985 to about 1995. So, you can check those out at your own discretion, but I would consider picking up, the early stuff from 83 back and from, I'd say, 1997 forward. All right, highlights on this album to me are the song Nosferatu, which is probably, the most intelligent songs about vampires I've ever heard in my life. Because let's face it, all of them are about killing the vampires. I mean, this one is about, what the vampire does, and eventually they try to kill him, but, who knows. And the title track, Thunderbolt, which is just a really kick-ass song proving that Saxon haven't lost a goddamn thing, in their 40 years, doing this heavy metal on the earth. All right, number 9 is Black Label Society with Grimace Hits. This one barely squeaks in, because, like I said, I recommend this album. You should go out and get it. I don't recommend it nearly as much as the early stuff by Black Label, but it's still really a good kick-ass album for what's come out this year. My personal favorites are Seasons of Falter and The Betrayal, which I just love the riff in The Betrayal. That's just a fucking awesome riff, and Bates can attest to that. Mm-hmm. All right. And the last one, High on Fire. This is a band that amongst us, I'm probably the only person who likes, because this is just brutal shit from beginning to end. Matt Pike just sounds, extra fucking nasty and crusty on this fucking album. It's kind of, I'm gonna kill you in the motherfucking night. Kind of like vocals. He sounds like that. He sounds like that on every album. He sounded like that on the beginning, the first album, 2002, Surrounded by Thieves. And he sounds like that on this album. It just proves that this band really is, a brutal metal motherfucking machine. Highlights for me include the title track, Electric Messiah, and a song much later on in the album called The Witch and the Christ. And that's basically it for that. There are a couple other recommendations that I'm gonna throw out there for you. They just didn't make it. Godsmack's When Legends Rise. Again, it's a good album, but it doesn't really move the needle as far as getting any more fans. And I'm gonna throw on the new Clutch album, Book of Bad Decisions. Although I gotta tell you, it's not as hard rock focused as some of the more previous works, like 2015 Psychic Warfare or Earth Rocker before it. But with Clutch, you always get kind of a grab bag, and this one's the grabbiest of grab bags I've ever heard this band produce in a long time, which is not unwelcome, mind you, but I just didn't think it met the criteria for my top 10 this year. So we're out for that. Plus, I'm starting a new thing called Retro Review, which basically be a retro album, the album has to have been out for 30 years or so. Usually these things are remastered and reissued, but that's not always the case. So I got 4 of them real quick. We're just gonna burn through these real fast. Number 1, an album called Scarred for Life by a band called Rose Tattoo from 1982. They have a video for a song called I'm forgetting. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the song. But if you're looking, Branded. That's the name of the song. It's a goofy video. This is the early days of MTV. Plus they're from Australia. So as far as that goes, they got a lot of strikes working against them. But don't hold that against this band. This is a good album. I'm looking forward to get more stuff from this album from this band actually in 2019. The 598 EP remastered by Metallica, which they do 2 really crummy versions of new wave of British heavy metal songs. I mean, if you listen to the original Helpless by Diamond Head, and then you listen to the Metallica version, it's wonky as fuck. It's all over the place, And but it is what it is. You get a couple covers here by from bands like Diamond Head, Budgie, the Misfits, and Killing Joke and Holocaust. So those are the bands that are being covered on this album, not in that particular order. Riot's Restless Breed from 1982. Riot is an undiscovered gem as far as hard rock and heavy metal goes. They were just a band that, for some reason, were never nearly as popular as me and Anthony, the Leather Rebel, personally think they should have been. And this one, you get the full album plus you get a bonus. You get the 6-song Riot Live EP. Now, the Riot Live EP it's a great live documentation piece, but it's nothing really all that spectacular though. That's the only problem with it. They only do one song that's not on the album. They do a version of Swords and Tequila live, which is just fucking awesome. And unfortunately, the guy who's singing on the album, Rhett Forrester, he's been dead for a very long time. It's very sad. That's a very sad way to think about that band, but unfortunately, that's the way he went.
Yeah, he was very talented, and he had put out a solo album or 2 back in the day. So check that out. If you listen to Tom's recommendations and you like that album by Riot, he has some solo material that's really good.
I think he also sang on their next album, Born in America, I think in like 1983 or something.
Yeah.
Then after that, I think Riot kind of like disbanded and kind of went their ways for a couple of years and then reformed in 1987 or 1988. All right, and I'm gonna make this last one real quick because my voice is fading. I can feel it cracking. Is 2 Steps from the Move by a band called Hanoi Rocks. Now, this is one of those truly undiscovered, forgotten bands because hell, not even I bought it as a whim. I bought it. It's kind of like what the hell? It's cheap on Amazon, so I'll pick it up. If it stinks, it stinks. If it's good, it's good. Jesus, motherfucking tap dancing Christ on a minefield. I didn't realize how talented this fucking band is. You know, because there's not really a terrible song on this album except for track number 8. I forgot the name of it offhand. But other than that, you know, this is one of those bands that's, you know, they were around for a very short time. They were around from like 1981 through about 1986. They were a Finnish band with a British singer. You know, and I gotta tell you, the I gotta do a highlights on this one. Highlights on this album are a song called High School and Boulevard of Broken Dreams, which I did a video for. Also, this is probably the only time that I've ever actually liked anything by Creedence Clearwater Revival, because they do a very good cover of Up Around the Bend. It's the first song on the album. You know, it's also very short. So, you know, you're getting 2 mercy breaks there. And that's pretty much it. So, you know, that's my top 10 and a little bit of retro review, which I'm going to try to make, you know, maybe 1 or 2 albums each time we do this kind of a permanent feature. So there we go.
I love the fact that well, obviously the lists are really great, but the retro reviews is kind of a continuation on something that your brother would do for us. Mm-hmm. You did as well for me, because like, I'm sure LR over here as well, where this group constantly recommends shit to each other, you know, and music's kind of one of our biggest bonds. So like, for you to do these lists is for you to do the same for whoever listens to this thing, whether it be next month or 6 years from now. Discovering movies is probably the best bond that anybody could have, and it's magical because it's basically sharing art with one another.
Exactly, it's sharing knowledge of a particular item with people who might also be like-minded.
And you might not have seen otherwise.
Yeah, you might, or in the case of Hanoi Rocks, a band that, you know, I knew about, but I completely forgot about for at least a good 10, 15 years. You know, I hadn't heard the name in a long time, so I figured I'd look it up, check it out on a whim. And, you know, sometimes when you check stuff out on a whim, man, it turns out to be really friggin' excellent. And
that's all it takes.
That's what happened with this one. Maybe the rest of the catalog stinks. I don't know. I highly doubt it. I'd like to think that's not the case. But who knows? You know, so, you know, just as long as it's more shoot than crap in this case, you know, I'm fine with it.
Cool.
Well, thank you very much for that rundown, Tom. Appreciate it.
My throat is so goddamn dry at this point.
Hey, you mind if I throw something in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Just for the new year, in case you guys don't hear from us, Overkill is putting out a new album, and there is a single that they released, and you can find it on YouTube and probably on the website too.
I did hear that.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but it's Overkill. They never let down.
Yeah, they're one of the few bands that has never really put out a Christ awful record. You know, even though I wasn't a fan of some of the mid '90s stuff, I mean, I can't honestly come out and say, "Oh, Jesus Christ, Overkill." Yeah, that album fucking sucked. I can never say that because, you know, even at their worst, at least they're driven. At least there's heart in what they do. So it's never a complete failure.
And it's probably like 100 times better than anything most metal acts are putting out today. You know, like, their weakest albums are some of people's bests.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a subject of discussion for next time about a certain band.
I'm very cool with that.
Well, not to brag, but bringing up Overkill, they follow me on Twitter, so yeah, I'm kind of a big deal.
Oh, lucky.
Shut up.
Yeah, he's not going to run this into the fucking ground, is he?
If you're looking to be a podcast host, we are taking applicants. Just at me, at Ray Mungus. We're looking to replace this big-headed asshole to my right.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he's going to be going out with Overkill.
That's what I call jealousy. It's dripping in here right now. The fog is thick. The jealousy fog is thick down here right now.
Swim to the shore, laddie. The fog be rolling in.
It's like a fucking bog of jealousy. All right, guys. So that is going to wrap it up for episode thick. 6.
Episode thick. That's what we're calling it. Episode thick.
All right, we gotta start naming these fucking episodes now.
That's beautiful.
You know, number 4 is Losty. Number 6 is thick.
See, the jealousy. It's just so heavy. It's messing me up.
The jealousy is so thick.
I can't swim out of it.
I can't see in here.
I can't see through the thick fog of the episode that's coming around.
Oh boy!
So thank you guys so much. For if you tuned in, you listened to this, either when we posted it, or I don't know if we're on iTunes or Stitcher or any of those things.
We are working on that in 2019. I know I've been saying that. Problem is I assume that iTunes hosted all this shit, and apparently they don't. So I have to look into getting a hosting service for all of this so that we could connect our podcast feed to Stitcher, iTunes, etc. Additionally, I'm going to be starting a Spotify account so that you can listen to this on the go via Spotify. You could just type in Dead Entertainment and all of our podcasts are going to be there. We're going to hopefully get into some music creation next year with a couple, like an album. I don't know if we're going to call it like a Dead Entertainment album, but we are going to make an original album. We have a few artists that are interested in contributing to whatever we're going to be doing for this, which is pretty awesome. But as far as podcasting goes, I'm looking into it. I'm going to put a little money into it, and we're going to start popping up in, places that you can check us out and make it convenient to listen to, not just have to watch it on YouTube or download it on our description. To keep up with announcements, future events, and all that, MBH related, go to our Twitter accounts and Facebook. Twitter, we're at Dead End Site, and you can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dead Entertainment.
And for all your true and old school heavy metal needs, look no further than Unstoppable Force webzine. Check it out at truemetal.org/Unstoppable Force. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Unstoppable Force. Friend us and like us.
As always, you can stay up to date on all the latest horror news and upcoming commentary events by visiting deadentertainment.com.
You can also follow most of us on Twitter, at Bates_MotelNT, at Ray Mungus, and what is yours, Tom?
At DoomMachine7784. I have 8 followers. I'm hoping to get no more than that. I'm personally happy with single digits.
And mine's at UF Webzine.
Yeah, well, his doesn't count. I don't think he's posted a tweet in.
I don't even think I know how to post a tweet.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't know what a tweet is.
Just type and hit the button, monkey. That's all you have to do.
Make sure you visit us over on deadentertainment.com. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/deadentertainment. And yeah.
See you next month, maybe? Guys?
Why'd your voice go all effeminate there for a few seconds there, Bates?
Because, listen, we talking like this again.
Oh, yes, I forgot. We're trying to confuse the listener at the end.
We're going to do an all weird voice episode coming up, so be prepared for that. We're going to be really drunk.
Yeah, we're going to be going into the Doom Machines motif now. Yeah, right. That's what we're going to be doing now.
And if you've gotten this far and listening to us, then you don't deserve a goddamn thing for Christmas.
Nothing for you.
Make sure you tune in every week Wednesday night around 8 p.m.-ish Eastern Time for the Way of Life live podcast. You can also check out my game streaming channel at bit.ly/LDgaming. It's a YouTube channel. I stream usually anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week. I don't have a schedule. I just do it whenever the fuck I want to.
Click the little bell. Subscribe to his channel. Click the little bell. When he gets on, you'll get notified.
But thank you guys again one more time. Thank you for all of the, my co-host here. Or we're all kind of our own host. I don't like to say co because.
Well, I mean, it is a cooperative effort, so it's not exactly, so you're not exactly wrong in saying co-hosts.
We have very strong voices, all of us at this table, except for one person. I'm not going to name any names, who has a very weak voice.
What's a tweet?
It's what a bird does when it wants sex.
All right, so we'll just say join us again in roughly 2 weeks. We make no promises there, for another edition of Metal Beer Horror. Until then, keep those horns raised high, always and forever, bloody, drunk, and heavy.